voice of CBS Sports himself, the great Jim Nantz. So, Jim, we have you on every year as part of this event that we do to raise money for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and we just got finished showing of that first game coming up for you on September 11th for the Chiefs and the Cardinals, and should be a fun one. Your thoughts on just seeing Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, all the potential fireworks that we could see in this matchup on Sunday?
Well, there's some giant stars. There's no question about it. I'm excited about that matchup. It's not one that you see that often. It's not like there's a big, deep history well with these two playing. Arizona, Kansas City. They both are expected to have big years, and the quarterbacks obviously will be the storyline going in. But I'm anxious to see, for example, what KC's going to look like on the outside. And what's Ronald Jones going to bring to the backfield? What's that going to look like with Tyreek being moved on to Miami? So there's a lot of interesting storylines there from a fantasy perspective, that's for sure.
So, Jim, let's stay with the Chiefs there because, like you said, things are looking a little different with their receiving core, not just losing Tyreek Hill, but also Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson. It's just an entirely new group there. We saw last year, teams taking away the deep ball from them and the Chiefs having to adjust. Just your thoughts on how Patrick Mahomes will sort of approach this season without Tyreek Hill and just knowing that, things might have to change for his game. Do you see things maybe going in a different direction than we've seen for Patrick Mahomes, maybe him struggling a little bit?
Well, I'm anxious to see how McCole plays, because he has some real similar traits to Tyreek. That quick, that speed, all those quick cuts and everything. So I think he's going to pick it up quite a bit. He might be a nice late round take for somebody out there, but Patrick can adjust. This guy is obviously way more than one dimensional, and after having a whole camp and preseason to try to figure out some of these new guys on the outside, I think that they're going to be just fine.
Receiving core changing for the Cardinals as well. They bring in Marquise Brown, but they don't have DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the season. We had the whole offseason saga with Kyler Murray finally getting his contract extension. Just your thoughts on the Cardinals and that passing game, knowing that Kyler Murray clearly ascending in the right direction. When he's healthy, he's clearly struggled with some injuries the last couple of years as well.
Yes, he has, and I've had him on my fantasy team once or twice in the past, and he can score a lot of points in multiple ways. So I'm expecting he's got the whole contract thing behind him, and I'm expecting this will be a really big season for him. You got to have him up there in the upper echelon of quarterbacks when you start talking about drafting at that position, just like Patrick and just like Justin Herbert and Josh Allen. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. And by the way, a lot of them happen to be in the AFC, our conference. So we're excited about it. Particularly AFC West is super loaded. So it's going to be a fun year to cover.
Yeah, stay there with the AFC West because Russell Wilson joins the Broncos. You got Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. Again, the Chiefs still loaded, but retooling their receiving core as well, like we talked about. Should just be a lot of fun. The Chargers obviously looking like a powerhouse as well. Is that just the division, for certainly for you, looking at the AFC that you're saying, okay, this is going to be where a lot of fireworks and certainly a lot of fantasy points come from?
I agree on all fronts. I mean, it's so many stars came into the league this year. It was just amazing. And not just offensive players either, with some of the guys that like Khalil Mack and on and on and on. We've just got a plethora of exciting games ahead. Those divisional games in the AFC West are going to be a ton of fun. I'm just hoping our crew will get a number of them to cover this year.
I'm sure you will, and I'm sure we'll be looking forward to watching them. And, you guys that are watching this, you hear Jim mention the word fantasy quite a bit. Jim's an experienced fantasy player. I know you really enjoy the game. So your approach to fantasy, not necessarily the leagues that you're in, but just your broad approach. Are you a quarterback first guy? Are you a running back guy? What's the position that you tend to attack when it gets into your fantasy draft?
Well, given that I play in PPR leagues, I've tried it all. I mean, I had a year right in the, off of one of Aaron Rodgers' MVP years where I ended up taking him in the first round, and that didn't work out real well. Nothing against him, but it's just, you lose out on some other guys. So I've kind of now gone down this path of getting wide receivers in 2 of the first 3 rounds, unless there's a superstar tight end on the board available. But I load up a lot now on tight ends. And of course, for running backs, I definitely want a guy that's not just a plotter up the middle. I want a guy that's going to get those points out of the backfield with receptions.
Now, do you stick to, simply because of your job, do you stick to AFC, do you slant that way, AFC players, or you just sort of take a broad approach to the league, knowing because obviously you've covered the league for many years and knowing the players as well as you do?
I think that probably have 70% of my players are AFC because I see them so often and I fall in love with the way a guy plays. So no, but I've got Devontae Adams for my team last year, and I had him as an NFC guy last year, and he served me well the last 2 years actually. And now it just so happens, of course, he's with the Raiders, so he's over in our conference. I'll keep him again this year, by the way. So no, it's I don't get too myopic about that, but I probably do have a little bit more insight on what I see. That means sometimes some of those midseason additions are guys that are coming out of the AFC because I've watched them up close.
Well, Jim, we appreciate your time as always joining us here for part of our Draft-A-Thon. Good luck this season with all of the calls. We'll certainly be looking forward to that fantastic game between the Chiefs and the Cardinals on September 11th with the first call for you and Tony Romo on CBS.
I sure appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be with you, my friend. Have a great season.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.